newsletter. A few big topics in the newsletter. First, I've uncovered for you 7 new things that Vrbo has rolled out. We talk a lot about Airbnb, but Vrbo is also rolling out cool things. For example, Vrbo has a new feature called the Vrbo listing value. It helps you, if you're selling your property, it helps you sell it for more money. It helps you share data about your bookings you've got on Vrbo, for example. It also helps you transfer your listing. So you don't lose the reviews, you don't lose all the upcoming bookings when you have to transfer a listing to a new owner. Super interesting. I'm not sure you've seen anybody else talk about this. So go to our newsletter and you'll see the link to the article we published about these new things Vrbo has rolled out. Another topic that we discussing in a newsletter and on the website is whether Airbnb and Booking.com will be forced to pay more taxes very soon. You may know that G7, the top 7 most industrialized countries in the world, in the Western world, have come together to say they want to raise the minimal global corporate tax to a minimum, of 15%. Airbnb in Europe, for example, is headquartered in Ireland, where it pays 12.5%. So it will mean an increase of the rate for Airbnb. And also, the G7 also wants multinationals to pay more taxes locally. If you're a host or on Airbnb or a partner, you may know that the money you're paying in your country, for example, in Europe, that money is flowing out of your country to go to the Netherlands for Booking.com or to Ireland for Airbnb. Nothing wrong, nothing illegal with it. But it does mean that these companies are making a lot of sales, if you will, in some big markets. And what the G7 would like is that if, for example, a big market like this represents more than 10% of the global sales of a company, that this company pays some taxes in that country. All the details are in the article. May sound a bit arcane, but again, kind of interesting, right? If you're a host or partner, to know where your money is flowing to. How much is it taxed? How does it compare with your own business? I think these are, key questions today. And again, there's nothing bad, nothing wrong here. It's just I want to point out that the rules are maybe changing for multinational companies. And I think it's very interesting because people talk about Facebook, Amazon, Apple, but companies like Booking.com and Airbnb are also coming into this game. And EU, for example, wants maybe to regulate more Booking.com and Airbnb because they see them as gatekeepers preventing fair competition. It's not, I'm not saying it's true, especially given my background. But what's interesting is that there's a dialogue going on between Booking.com and Airbnb. And in the article, I link to Airbnb's response or Booking.com's response to what the EU is saying. It's very interesting because it really helps you think through, okay, what's a big platform? Are Airbnb and Booking the same thing as Facebook and Google? Should they be subject to the same regulations, yes or no? And both companies are arguing that they are different. And it's interesting as well because if you're listing your place on these big platforms, or if you are basically operating with these big platforms, you may have more papers to fill in or digital papers to fill in. So it's very interesting because, again, if you're a host in Europe or a partner at Booking.com, you may remember that you've been forced to answer a question whether you were a private host or a professional host. And quite frankly, I went through the papers myself and I was scratching my head. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Yes, I do earn money with this, but it's not occasionally. It's a secondary home. So is my secondary home a full-time business? So am I a pro? I'm a trader under EU law, or am I an individual? So the thing is, if these new regulations, the EU regulations, come through, it may mean more burdens, more red tape, basically, for hosts. And that's something that Airbnb is saying. It's very interesting to hear. And again, it's not something you'll hear probably in other publications because who are more focused rightfully on the US, right? These are completely EU-centric questions. But as you may know, sometimes regulations in the EU tend to spread out around the world. Again, interesting debate. We're part of the industry. We should know about this debate. It's, as a wholesale partner, that's your money fueling this. So what's happening with this? What are the regulations? Again, there's an opening. It's a super open debate. Booking.com, Airbnb are publishing their viewpoint. We're linking to this. You should read about it. Last thing, and I stopped talking about regulations and taxes. Last thing, I want to hear from you. I want to hear how things are going. I want, wherever you are in the US, in Europe, in Canada, in Indonesia. As you may know, I'm very interested in hearing from you. What I'm doing, what am I doing? what am I doing? Everything I'm doing, the content, the publications, only makes sense if you find it interesting to you, right? As a property manager, as an owner. Otherwise, it just does not make sense. I'm losing my time. I'm wasting yours. So you will see that in the coming weeks, I'll be putting links just to have like coffee chat or tea chat, if you like me, like a 15-minute casual chat, just you and me, one-on-one. And I want to hear from you. What's going on, what's on your mind at the moment, business-wise, personal life, I don't know, but it's like quick chat, because I really want to hear more from you and understand how things are going. I think it's another way. Basically, I can't meet you in person this summer. It's another way to meet up, chat, and get to know each other. So be on the lookout for this link in a Facebook group, on YouTube, or in the newsletter. 15 minutes of my time, just you and me, one-on-one. I will try to make it available to as many people as I can while still being able to work on the side. But I really look forward to hear from you. On this, have a great day. Cheers.